All right, good morning, everyone. This is Patty Goolsby out of Colorado, Pro 6 here in the Denver metro area, and I am really excited that each of you get to join us today. I'm going to state our mission, and our mission is a weekly call that provides the culture and vision of like-minded people who have joined the LifeVantage family and who want to share their stories with the world, whether it be their success stories through business or maybe product, but we're super excited to put on this call each and every week. One of the things we like to say is that culture eats strategy for breakfast every time. That is a quote from Peter Drucker. And that's what I love about this call. My co-host, who is actually the true host of this call, Shannon Shine, Pro 6 out of Colorado as well. She was the brainchild behind this call, and I am super excited to every single week be a part of this call. So with that, Shannon Shine, Pro 6, take it away, my friend.
Okay, thanks so much, Patty. And yes, this is so much fun, you guys. We are, Patty and I just love doing these for us and for you. I'm so excited to introduce our speaker today. We have Dr. Lee Seward from Colorado, and I have to give you a little bit about his background because he is, oh my gosh, so impressive, everything that he's done in his life. He is a CSU guy. He headed up the team for the development of HeartGuard, the original heartworm product. He has written over 25 scientific papers. He has multiple patents. He is on multiple boards, including the American Health, the Animal Health Institute. He is a veteran and still involved in service to other veterans. His focus is on helping to prevent, diagnose, and control diseases in animals, especially dogs. He and Becky, his wife, live here in Colorado. He is 4 years in LifeVantage this month. And I know I'm booking through all this, Dr. Lee, but please fill in the blanks. He is a Pro 5 with LifeVantage. And I am dying for you to tell your story of how you got into LifeVantage and why LifeVantage. So please, take it away, Dr. Seward.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shannon. Hopefully you can hear me all right. And first off, I'd like to thank Shannon and Patty for inviting me. I'm humbled that they would have me on. They are true leaders in this area. And as you can see from all the things that they are doing to support others in Colorado, they are tremendous leaders and just really tremendous people. So I am flattered to be here and grateful that you invited me to join you, because I love talking about LifeVantage and love sharing with other people. As Shannon said, I've been in 4 years. It was 4 years ago, January, actually, that I was first introduced. Becky and I were first introduced to LifeVantage. We were on an airplane headed for San Antonio, Texas, to a wedding. The plane was full. Becky was, I was sitting on the window, and Becky had moved over. We were hoping to get the middle seat left open, but the plane was crammed. So Becky had to slide over and get in the middle seat, and and then the plane filled, and this young woman sat down next to Becky, curly-haired. I call her a young woman. Of course, a lot of women are young to me, but anyway, she sat down, and Becky is a extrovert. I tend to be a little more introvert, but Becky's an extrovert, and so was this woman. So they were just having a great time introducing themselves to each other. And within a few minutes, they knew all about each other, their families, why they were going to San Antonio, and all that sort of thing. And by the time we took off, they were fast friends. And I was trying to hide in my Wall Street Journal. So about 30 minutes into the flight, they're chatting away, and this young woman pulls out an iPad and starts showing Becky a video. And that got my curiosity, and I started looking over Becky's shoulder at the video, and you know what it was? It was the ABC primetime report with Dr. Joe McCord. And so I'm looking over Becky's shoulder, and I watched this, and I said, that's intriguing, interesting. Didn't know anything about it. Back in the day when I was in school, free radical damage is what we talked about. So it was something I knew about, leading to oxidative stress, which was a new term to me. Well, the flight ended. We'd found out that they were headed down to a Life Vantage meeting in San Antonio. It just so happens that there was a new product being introduced at that meeting. When we got back home, I was intrigued enough that I started doing my due diligence. I started finding out what this was all about. Who's Joe McCord? Who's James Crapo? And so I started looking at the literature, started looking at pubmed.gov, the source of peer-reviewed scientific and medical literature from the National Institute of Health Library, the most credible source for information on scientific advances. And what I found at that time is I think there were 16 papers written on the product Protandim, and about 90,000 peer-reviewed papers talking about oxidative stress. This blew me away. 90,000 papers, that's a lot of information, and shows that the medical science field was looking into this issue and found it to be very, very important. And the fact that there were 16 papers at the time that related specifically to a branded product, a supplement that was branded Protandim. I don't think people understand the significance of this, is that branded supplements don't have science, frankly. There's very few. I can't think of maybe more than one or two other really branded products that have any scientific papers. So Protandim is unique, and the fact that it had, at that time, 16 blew me away. So I told Becky, after doing this and learning that Dr. McCord was the father of free radical biology, winner of the award from the Franklin Institute for his efforts in science that changed the course of human history. I mean, this is, I said, wow, this guy's a heavy hitter. James Crapo, who's also in that video, is at the National Jewish in the National Jewish Hospital System. He is a world-renowned pulmonologist. He's the guy that National Jewish rolls out when the big donors come in to show the power of National Jewish research. So I said, boy, this is not just a couple of guys that don lab coats for a video. This is the real deal. So I told Becky, I said, hey, we got to take this stuff. Some people look at us and think we're getting along in years. So anything we can do to kind of change the course of our direction, we might want to try this. And it wasn't long after that, well, actually, we'd been thinking about this at the time. We weren't looking for a business. We had lots of things going on in our lives, family, our church, our animals, our travel, etc. We weren't looking for a business. But very shortly, we figured out that we knew a lot of people that we felt would benefit from reducing their oxidative stress. And a lot of our family and friends, and looking at the data, I said, we have to share this with other people. And the best way to do that is to be a distributor. So we became distributors in March 4 years ago. We did sign on with the highest level that was available at that time. And we went forward from there. We had a lot of interest and success in meeting with people and sharing the product, and found a number of people that saw what we saw about the product. Since that time, of course, as most of you know, the number of papers on PubMed has gone from the 90,000 that we saw 4 years ago to over 160,000 today. So can you imagine in 4 years, 70,000 additional investigations by scientists and medical people around the world? I mean, if that doesn't just blow your mind, I don't know what will. And you know, the other thing about it that most people don't think about is that most of the papers on PubMed are scientific investigations done at institutes and colleges and universities around the country by the top researchers at those locations, and they involve a lot of different things, including animal models, in vitro or in glass studies, that is cell level studies and things like this. And one of the things, of course, as a veterinarian, that means to me is that this science that you see in PubMed, the vast majority of it applies to all animals, not just humans, but to other animals, including, you know, animals of interest to me, particularly dogs and horses and cats, and etc. So one could easily say that the vast majority of that 160,000 papers on oxidative stress relates to oxidative stress in animals as well as humans. Going back now to the time when we signed up, the product that was being launched in San Antonio while we were meeting with the person on the plane just happened to be Canine Health. So that was a further inducement for me to become interested in the company. And of course, one of the reasons we were compelled was because of the people we happened to meet on that plane, who were Jennifer and Stephen Bishop. And as most of you know, they have a powerful, powerful story. And the story really is what carries. So we heard their story. I, in fact, being a little skeptical, I checked on their story and found out that yes, Stephen was a victim of ALS, and they knew Jerry Lewis from the Jerry Lewis telethon, and had been their story had been verified by a number of different people, including appearing in Parade magazine. So, you know, these were the real people, and I'd like to just mention, I don't want to tell their story, but I would just mention that Stephen diagnosed with ALS some 15 years ago or so. I skied with him last year. So just an amazing, amazing story. So all this has come together to give Becky and I a passion for LifeVantage. And as we move forward, one of the things that has struck us about LifeVantage is the culture of sharing, cross-line like this particular program, and the willingness of others to help everyone that's trying to get along and move forward and have success at this business. That's tremendously different than what I experienced in my years in research and in big pharma, and even in smaller companies, a startup company that I was involved in. In the corporate world, your teammates are competitors. Your teammates are the one that want the next project, want the next raise, want the next recognition, and it's a finite thing. So there's only one promotion coming, somebody gets it, you know. So you're competing for that promotion, you're competing for the next assignment, etc. So while we work together as teams, there's always that undercurrent that watch your back. The difference is, and particularly in LifeVantage, I haven't experienced any other network marketing company, but the difference is in LifeVantage, and the culture of LifeVantage is that we cooperate with one another. Other people's success is our success, and the building of the company and the building of the awareness of LifeVantage serves us all. And that is a tremendous, tremendous thing. I have never been involved in an organization where under a very, very short period of time, I have found so many people from so many different areas, people I would have never met in a million years in my former life, where, as Becky I used to tell Becky when we were going out socializing that, oh, we got to go out tonight to meet these people. You remember, Becky, I've got about 15 minutes of charm. And Becky would usually say, nah, not so much, So this whole thing has been a growth opportunity for me to meet all these people from all these different areas, and have so many friends in LifeVantage. So I don't know where I am on the clock, Shannon and Patty, but that's really kind of the short version of the story. It's been just a fantastic thing for us to be involved in this, and we just look forward to continuing on. So I think that's pretty much a condensed version, and I'll turn it back to you and see where you want to push me.
So I'm going to start, Dr. Lee. You, of course, you had me crying already this morning, so thanks so much. I just want to say you've mentioned so many things in 15 minutes that we could end the call right here. I hope that everyone that's listening can see your passion for the products, the people, the culture. I love that you brought up your personality style. I think you're charming every time I've seen you. I absolutely just adore you. You've always got a big smile on your face, and I love you. So I'm going to, thanks. Thanks for making me cry today. I have some questions. First, you said you weren't looking, which I loved. You'd gotten to a place in your life you weren't looking for this. You said you've seen it on every animal's based on what the studies look like. I want to touch on that for just a minute because we get this question a lot, and I think you're the perfect person to answer this, is why mice studies? And you said that it crosses every animal, including us. How many different animals have you seen this used on?
Well, I've seen or heard, a lot of it's not direct, but I've seen or heard of it being used in most all farm animal species, and pet species. I mean, personally, our cats get it, our dog gets it, our horses get it. We've had people that we know personally that are customers that have used it in goats. We know people that have used it in cattle. I think the big thing is that it's widely used. Protandim, the human product, is widely used in horses, and canine health. I've had so many people and so many stories about what reducing oxidative stress has done for their dogs and horses. It's just amazing. So it's basically oxidative stress, the whole scenario that was explained in Dr. McCord's video and subsequent videos. That is a fact in all mammals, certainly, and actually in all animals. So that same system of how we metabolize things and the protections that are built into our cellular structure that decline in their efficiency with age happens in virtually all animal species. So oxidative stress is a factor in all animal species. And let me just mention a couple things about that. One of the things, if you look at the literature, say, okay, you go to PubMed, you look at PubMed and you say, well, say oxidative stress in horses. Well, if you do that, you'll turn up papers, but there will be a limited number of those papers. In horses, in PubMed.gov, you'll find about a little over 200, 250 or so papers that mention horses. And most of these, because PubMed is aimed at human medicine, are related somehow to a human issue. But there are other search engines you can use. One of the ones is on PubMed. It's another search direction on PubMed, and it's called PMC. If you go to the top of the screen when you go to the PubMed website, there'll be the little drop-down box that selects a number of different search engines that are part of PubMed. And if you select the PMC, that's PubMed Central, you select the PMC block, it broadens the search to a lot more internet-based systems. And you can increase that, like for horses, from that 230 or so papers that are on PubMed, it will increase it to over 1,000 peer-reviewed papers mentioning horses. If you really want to go crazy, you can go to Google Scholar. Not Google, as I say, Google Scholar is a technical search engine. Google is a search for crap. So if you go to Google Scholar, and don't mistake it for Google, and you search oxidative stress in horses, you will get 30,000 papers. So I just pointing that out because you can do the same thing with dogs, and you can do the same thing like you do in PubMed. You can say oxidative stress, horses, and a condition or disease of interest, and it will narrow it down. You have to remember Google Scholar is a technical search engine, but it isn't all peer-reviewed literature. It's got a lot of other stuff on it. It's got opinion pieces, which have value. And you can narrow it down. You can do all kinds of things. It has a lot of patent information. You can exclude that sort of thing and narrow it down. But it's really powerful. Let's give you another idea. If you look at oxidative stress in dogs on Google Scholar, you'll get over 100,000 papers. So I think that validates that oxidative stress is not just about humans, it's about all animals.
So I have a question for you. Your scientific credentials are huge. Your background in the traditional medicine type for animals is where you were focused before.
That's my training. Mm-hmm.
So can you talk to us about, this was totally different from your background with the herbs and everything. Is that correct, or had you?
Oh yeah. So, that's a great question, Shannon. Because we all have to remember that most medical professionals, including myself, are trained in what I call the pharmaceutical model. If something's wrong, let's intervene with something to fix it, and then let's use a chemical that's been shown to fix that particular problem. In my day, and even in the current day, most traditionally trained medical professionals are trained in this pharmaceutical model. You see a problem, you don't think about prevention, you don't think about trying to get the body to deal with it with its own systems. You think about, I've got this tool, I've got this hammer, maybe I can, crack that egg. You don't think about other ways of doing it. So this was a novel thing for me to really look at supplements. Supplements, most medical professionals think about supplements because of the fact that they aren't really well documented with peer-reviewed science. Think of them as, pretty sketchy thing. So it's very hard to get medical professionals' attention because of that, because of their general view that supplements don't have the science behind it. And most of the studies on supplements, there was one, I'll give you an example, probably the best way. There was a supplement I was looking at that was a dog product that a company had come out with that had 36 different ingredients, 36 different natural product ingredients. Mm-hmm. And in their statement about their particular product, they used ingredient literature, not all of it even peer-reviewed, saying that, oil of batwing is known to smooth the skin. Well, oil of batwing might smooth the skin if you used a gallon of it and of some, in that particular case. But in this particular product, oil of batwing is one of 36 different ingredients, and is that such a small amount? Who knows what it does, and who knows what it does in the combination of these 36 ingredients? So I don't put a lot of faith in supplements that take that approach and then make all these statements about what all the ingredients on their individual basis would do when they're combined in a product. I look at what LifeVantage has done with Protandim Nerve 2 and say, wow, what we got 22, 23 papers now on PubMed.gov that actually talk about Protandim. All but I think 2 or 3 of them were done without LifeVantage funding, which is also a powerful, powerful statement. Take a step back. Pharmaceutical studies are done because the FDA requires them to get an approval for that particular product. Pharmaceutical studies are done, paid for by the manufacturer, by the discoverer of that particular pharmaceutical. They're paid for. The study design is done by the company. Approval of the FDA is required. I can grant you that. The results are analyzed by people paid for by the company. The investigators are paid for by the company. So if you don't think there might be an opportunity for a little bias in the way these studies are conducted and analyzed and presented to the FDA, then you're naive. And I've got some land in New Mexico I'd like to sell you. But anyway, so what we have with Protandim Nerve 2 and building with Protandim Nerve 1 are products based on real science that is a powerful information to show what they actually do. And what I've seen with LifeVantage is LifeVantage comes out with products that have information support. Even if they aren't the most advanced, like Nerve 2 obviously and Nerve 1 are the most advanced, but even when they have other products that they're entering into other fields with, they take what I would call a very sophisticated and measured approach. They look at what they want to accomplish and then design a product with science behind it to accomplish those goals. The physique line's an example. Axio's an example. I mean, these things do what they say they do. They do what they say they do. Excuse me while I take a little sip of my smoothie with our
I love it. I love how authentic you are. I just love it. We have a couple of questions in the chat, and I want to touch on something else. You were not a professional network marketer. You are. You had never done network marketing, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a complete new learning curve for you, and it's your seasoned part in life. You said, we're going to go for it, and you did it. So I commend you on that. You just kept going. And I'm sure you have tons to say about that. But I do want to, these 2 questions that got asked in here. One was, how do you give it to your cats? And then the second one was, can we apply any of the new 23rd study information to our pets and livestock? ?
Sure, good questions. How do I give it to my cats? Well, I've talked to a lot of people about this. Everybody you talk to has a different idea about how to best give it to cats. And near as I can tell, there's no good way. Cats are cats. What I do is I take a canine help and I shave, powder it. Some people grind it up in a mortar and pestle. Some people grind it up in a spoon, whatever. I actually use a sharp knife and take a canine health tablet and just shave that tablet in a powder form into some moist, wet food, a small amount of moist, wet food. I don't get a lot in them. It's not a very high level dose that I'm able to get into them. But, anecdotally, we feel fairly strongly that we see benefits from reducing the oxidative stress, as you would expect. And so we continue to do it, and we're very happy with that method. A lot of other people, some people I know that are trying to get a higher level in their cats will pill them, take a piece of Protandim or a piece of Canine Health and pill them. Protandim, you can use a very small amount of a tablet because it's a little more concentrated than it is in Canine Health, and give it to your cats. But that to me gets old real quick. We've had one cat that just that was not going to happen. So it's just not fun for me. I think I'm stressing the cat more than it's worth so I don't do that anymore. Other people put it in liquids. We put it in some of the highly palatable pastes that are in tubes that are made for cats, but it's all the same issue. My cats don't eat that stuff anyway, so there's no reason to put it in there. And I have tried it, but they don't eat it even if there isn't any Canine Health in it. So they're not going to eat it when I put Canine Health in it. So it's a trial and error process. Not very satisfying, but it's trial and error. It's a process.
That's okay. And so on this 23rd study, I'm not sure what you know about it. If you've looked at it, how does it apply to pets and livestock by chance? And then I'll toss it back to Shannon so she can close it out with her last question.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to tell me which study it is. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure what the 23rd study is.
That was the protein milk and muscle study.
I'm sorry?
The protein milk and muscle study.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what I can't tell you really at this point in time. I'd have to look at it again.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Miss Shannon?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Patty. Dr. Seward, this has been awesome. It's been such a treat getting to benefit from your knowledge. Thank you so much. So yeah, to close it out, you got to tell us a story about your shirt.
Okay. Well, this particular shirt is green, by the way. So, and Becky's got one too. Oh. This particular shirt was designed by a woman by the name of Temple Grandin. Temple Grandin is a full professor, actually professor emeritus now at Colorado State University. She has world renowned as an animal behaviorist. She has many books and has been acclaimed for the advances that she has put into particularly the cattle industry on how producers and systems are used to handle cattle, keep them calm, keep them in humane conditions. She's redesigned many of the plants that process cattle around the world. They bring her in as a consultant. She draws up designs, worldwide famous. Well, Temple Grandin is autistic, severely autistic, and spent her life as a child living under her bed in a box. So this is a story of someone who overcame one of the most high levels of disability to achieve great things. She's an inspiration to me, and it shows me the value of her persistence and the fact that she had other people willing to help her. She's widely consulted in the world of autism to give people advice and assistance on how to handle autistic children and people. Just an amazing story, an amazing person. If any of you are interested in finding out more about her, there is a made-for-TV movie that was broadcast a few years ago, and you can find it on YouTube. It's I think it's about an hour and a half long, but it is on YouTube, Temple Grandin, just a fabulous story. And she wears shirts like this all the time, and she designed this one specifically for Colorado State University. So just a couple other things I'd like to say about that is that persistence is one of the things I think all of us have to continue in this particular business. A couple of my favorite mentors. I'm an old guy, so I like the classics. Jim Rohn is really, he's got a book that's called, I think, The 4 Seasons of Life. This is a book that talks about how things cycle in life, that difficulties are followed by success, and success is often followed by difficulties. And you have to realize, like night is followed by day, night is a finite period of time, and that darkness is going to change to light. And that winter is followed by spring, and spring is an opportunity. So, you have to just think about that when we're in this business, because I think a lot of us, it's easy to see and get discouraged because of the no's, or because you might come up against obstacles. But just keep at it. Night is followed by day all the time. There's no 2 nights. You don't have 2 nights in a row. You have one night, then you have day. So that's one of Jim Rohn's my favorite book of his. He presents a lot of stuff out of that book. The other thing I'd like to say for you, those of you that want to investigate Jim Rohn, is the full good thing about his work, huge volume of work, I should say, is that it's on YouTube. It's free, So there's some great Jim Rohn presentations. I watch it when I work out a lot of times. It's just great stuff.
Wow. I know. Shannon and I are both we could just listen to you forever. You've got such words of wisdom, and I love it. I love that you're like, I'm still working out. You're changing people's lives, all because this young lady, Jennifer, sat on an airplane next to your beautiful wife, and you watched that ABC primetime. Every single person on this Zoom today, that's how we got started, was that ABC primetime. And you guys did not know each other. And look at the thousands of lives that have been changed because you said yes.
Well, thank you. And that's great. I'd like to thank the bishops for all the support and help that they've given us. Just tremendous people, and our team, all the support they've given us, and the interactions and getting to know these people. Just a great thing. Just the personal aspects and the personal growth that we've gotten out of Life Manager. Hey, that's worth the journey right there.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Thank you. Shannon, I'll let you close us out, my friend.
Shannon, before you close that out, Dr. Seward, I just want to say our lives are better because of knowing you, and we are truly blessed by having you saying yes and joining us here and stuff.
Absolutely.
Our lives are much better. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve, and I feel the same way.
Thank you so much, Dr. Seward. You said it, Patty. You've shared your science knowledge with us, and you've shared such wisdom today. So thank you for making all of our days so much better. A great way to start. Everybody, hope you're going to your Life Vantage Academy, your local Life Vantage Academy tomorrow, and we will see you next week, same time. Another speaker. Thank you so much, Dr. Seward.
Yes, thank you so much. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.